happening. Nothing good came from Tasmania.
Ouch, that's kind of harsh.
Especially not Launceston.
Especially not what?
Launceston, where Reese was born.
My mum went there recently!
Okay.
Also, that word is spelt so stupidly, because it's spelt like it should be Launceston,
There's
but
no
it's
H.
just not. Isn't there?
No.
Either way, I don't fucking remember. Who cares, bro? It's only Tasmania.
Alrighty, do you want to try your hand at the intro today?
Oh god. I don't even know if I remember what you say. Alright. Alright, Reese, there's no H, I get it. Whatever. Launceston. Alright. Whatever. I was Googling post offices. There's only 2 post offices in Launceston.
Why were you Googling post offices?
Because my mum had to post something.
Why did you have to Google it?
Because it's my mother. Do you really trust her to Google something?
I barely trust her to, like, raise proper humans. Like, look at Cindy and you. She did okay with Courtney, but then...
Wow.
dropped the ball with the other 2. Anyway, do you want to introduce this or not?
Okay, I'm gonna fuck this up, but I got this. Okay.
I don't believe in you.
Fuck you! Okay. Okay, ready? I'm going to do it in my Jeramie voice. You are listening to...
What is this?
That's how I imagine you speak. Like, you go, you are listening to... That's how you do it.
I do not!
That's
Okay, maybe I don't know.
Okay, stop. You are listening to Rent Free in My Hat.
In your hat?
I don't know. Okay. No, okay. Whew, okay, I go. See? Reese agrees with me. You fucking do it. You do it.
You said doo-doo.
Fuck's sake. You are listening to Rent Free in My Head, the podcast where we take up space in your head. Is that it? Is that what you say?
No, that's what you say at the end of the episode.
What do you say then? Wait, what do you say? I remember the first part. Okay, I got it this time. Okay, this is the last time I do it, okay? This is the last time.
Okay. And when you fail, I will take over.
That's fair. Okay.
Notice I said when, not if.
That's rude. I'm not going to fail. Fuck you. Okay. You are listening to Rent Free in My Head, the podcast where we take the thoughts squatting in our minds and help them set up residence in yours. Each week, I tell Jeramie a true crime story and...
Then I just swoop in with no answers at all because it's an unsolved mystery. And also, well done. Yay! 10th time's the charm. Reese asked, does she even work here?
No, bestie, I don't work here. Look.
She does not.
I concentrate on the end.
She barely even shows up to her shift.
I have kept our Skype call up. I'm just really quickly going to be like...
You kept us in.
Oh, what? Fuck, I accidentally opened Netflix. I didn't mean to do that.
Okay, what are we watching? Go.
Oh my god. Thanks,
I love that we're still under the sea.
Yeah, what the fuck is my computer doing? Stop.
Oh shit, I don't have gills, I might drown.
So, are you ready to hear my curse?
Oh, that's right, it's a follow-on from that really sad story earlier, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. It is.
I mean, no, it's super exciting. Yay!
Totally not about murder.
Please keep listening.
Yay.
Okay, but is there less kidnapping of children and rape in this one? Your face says no.
I was gonna say yes, but then I remembered the age of 2 of the victims. And it's a no.
Oh, yay.
They're slightly older than the last one.
That doesn't improve anything because the last one was 7. Okay, I'm just going to drink my wine and listen to you tell me a terrible story.
Okay, so we're going back to California. This time we're going to the Cedar Lodge Motel in El Porto, California, which is like a little fun fact. There is a Cedar Lodge Motel in Armadale, which is like 40 minutes from where my sister and dad live.
Cute.
Which I just thought was kind of funny because, like, bad shit happens there.
There's a Cedar Creek not far from us.
Yeah, no, I think there's also a Cedar Lodge Motel in Townsville, because when I was trying to type in Cedar Lodge Motel to find out more about this place, like the bad place, a few Australian places came up, but I just thought Armadale was the funniest because, like, my, like, family, like, lives right near there, so I was like, lol, that's kind of awkward.
It is awkward.
But yeah, and when I was trying to check it out, I'm not too sure if they're opened or closed or not, because one website said they were closed and it would, like, let me try and book a room, but then another website said they were permanently closed.
Wait, the one in California where the crimes occurred, or the one?
Yeah, the one in the one in California where the crimes occurred. But just in case you did want to know, for a queen room with 2 queen beds, it's about $294 Australian money per night to stay,
which is a pair of queens here is a decent space, but I feel like we deserve more.
Because we're kings. No, I'm kidding. Oh, yeah. Actually, that's so sexist that kings get more room than queens. Like, what the fuck, bro? I'm a queen. I deserve more. I got more shit
What does
to deal with.
What does a king do on the chessboard? Nothing. What does the queen do? Fucking everything.
Yeah, literally, though. Fuck the king. That's like why in chess,
Well, that's
like,
the
you can
queen's
kill the
job,
queen, like,
to
you
fuck
can
the king.
No, it's not, Jeramie. That's not her job.
Oh, okay.
That's just an added bonus if he's hot. If he's not hot, then it's like
It's just a thing that
task.
she has to do, which means it's a job.
Like, if it was, like, Henry Tudor in the Tudors TV show, which is played by, like, that Reese guy, he is, chef's kiss, fucking gorgeous. But no, yeah, but if it was, like, the Henry in the Boleyn sisters, I don't think he's as hot, so, like, that'd be, like, less exciting. Anyway, so, we're going to Cedar Lodge Motel, El Porto, California, where Carrie Stainer, who is the older brother of Stephen Stainer, who is the victim from my last case.
Mm-hmm.
So that is how it connects. He had been hired as a handyman in 1997. It seems like he had kind of, like, moved on with his life a little bit and wanted a quiet life, maybe after, like, all of the media mayhem of his brother. He returned home, and also the fact that his uncle was murdered when he was living with him, and that's actually remains unsolved. Like, literally all they know about the case is that his uncle came home from work and he was shot 3 times. No one knows who did it. Carrie Stainer has a solid alibi, so it wasn't him. But, you know, still a bit sketchy. He was living with him at the time. So he also had apparently attempted suicide in 1991. So
Okay.
back in the, like, what is it, 60s or something? No, 70s. Back in the 70s, his younger brother is kidnapped. His brother is returned in the 80s. Then in 1990, his uncle is murdered while he's living at that house. And then 1991, he tries to kill himself. And then 1997, he's like, you know what? I'm going to get a job at Cedar Lodge Motel, which is, like, right down the road from Yosemite National Park. Yes, I did Google how to say Yosemite because it does not fucking look like how it's spelled. I'm just saying.
Isn't it Yosemite?
That's what I said, isn't it?
You said Yosemite.
What did you
Yosemite.
say? Yosemite. I don't fucking know, dude. Jesus Christ. I only say it like 3 times in this case. Yosemite. I don't know! I hate pronouncing things.
Which comes first,
Okay.
the M or the T?
The M. It's spelled Yosemite.
Yeah, so it's Yosemite,
like
not Yosemite.
Yosemite.
Oh, I like
Whatever,
Vegemite.
Yosemite. Yeah, like Vegemite. Okay,
Yum.
so Yosemite National Park.
Vegemite.
Stop. No. Okay, so At the ripe old age of 36, he's got a job. Life is pretty chill. Life is pretty, like, nothing really bad's happening. And then, Valentine's Day weekend, 1999, tragedy strikes. When a rental car is discovered with 2 charred remains in the boot. Also, when I was reading this, it said trunk, and I was like, what the fuck is a trunk? And then I was like, oh, lol. Because I originally thought of, like, a trunk as in, like, a suitcase trunk.
Okay.
And I was like, that's really random just to find, like, on the side of the road. What the fuck? Also, how do they fit 2 dead bodies
Wouldn't
in there?
be the first time, though.
No, I know, but I was still like, damn, 2 bodies in 1 trunk? Like, that's a big-ass trunk.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, wait, it's a car. They mean boot.
There's a lot of junk in that trunk.
These are murder victims.
That's true.
The bodies were so badly burnt that they had to use dental records to identify them. Also, super cute, a little note was sent to the FBI that read, we had fun with this one. And then it was like a little hand-drawn map leading the police somewhere. Police follow the map, and they find a 3rd body.
Oh, I was going to ask if they found treasure.
Nope, they found a girl with her throat slit.
Slit.
So it really depends on your version of...
I'm sorry, we keep watching all of the Chad videos, or like all of the Chad skits from SNL, and my brain is just... It's stuck in that now. And so I'm like, oh, you said slit. That's funny.
Okay, Jeramie. Maybe I should have said cut.
Maybe.
The 3 women would later be identified as 42-year-old Carol Sund, her 15-year-old daughter, Julie Sund, and Julie's friend, who also happened to be an exchange student from Argentina, Silvina Peloso. All 3 women had been on a road trip. They had just gone to the Yosemite.
National
National Park.
Yosemite.
Oh my fucking god. Yosemite. Okay, so they had just been to the Yosemite National Park, and then they were going to go on to the Grand Canyon next, right?
Okay.
But obviously they never fucking made it because they were all murdered. So, but they had been staying at the Cedar Lodge Motel, right?
Sure.
So, obviously detectives were like, alright, well, fuck. These 3 women were staying at the Cedar Lodge Motel, so it's not that big of a leap that they were probably killed by someone who either was, like, staying there or worked there. It was kind of an off-season for the Cedar Lodge Motel, so there wasn't really anyone staying there. It was pretty much just them.
What time of year was it again? I wasn't paying attention.
Valentine's Day. So, February. So, summer for us, winter for them.
I suppose there's other canyons people want to visit on that day.
Boy, you're fucking killing me. Okay, whatever. Moving on. So, obviously, the detectives began investigating the employees of the lodge and being like, one of y'all gotta be it. Good old Stainer wasn't really considered a suspect because he had no criminal history and he was like chill as fuck in all of the police interviews and stuff like that. So like he was just kind of like, oh yeah, like I was here, I did this, like I work on the lodge, had a pretty shit life. And they were like, alright, bet. So he was kind of like cleared, and the investigators obviously kept investigating and trying to work out who the fuck killed these 3 women, right? Then, within a few months, the body of a Yosemite professor, Joey Armstrong, was found. She had been decapitated, by the way. Yep. She had no head.
Do they reckon that that's what this guy was trying to do to the ladies? Like he was trying to de-head them and he just didn't do a good job, and then this guy, he's like, I know how to remove a head now.
We'll get to later on exactly what happened when the first 3 women were murdered. When obviously the killer is captured, I can tell you what he confessed to. But I don't think at first they were like, oh yes, this is connected. They were just kind of like, oh, what the fuck? Another woman has been murdered, like, a couple months after these other chicks have been murdered. Like, they were like, maybe it's connected, maybe not, because the killings were so different. because the other two
Okay.
had been shot. So Carol and Sylvina had been shot.
Those were the two in the trunk?
Yes.
That was the junk in the trunk?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And then Julie had her throat slit.
That was the not so precious treasure that they
Yes.
found?
So the car was found on a road, like up from the lodge or whatever. And then like inside like kind of like a clearing in the woods kind of situation is where Julie was found.
Okay.
And they only found her because someone sent a note to the FBI being like, I got a little treasure for you. Woo. So yeah. And then later on we find Carol's body decapitated, again just kind of chilling, like on the side of the road somewhere.
Do you know what's really bad?
What?
Wait, was Carol the first name or the surname?
Carol. I only ever use first names for the victims.
So the professor was a woman?
Professor Joey Armstrong.
Ah.
Oh, I think I just fucked up then. Yeah, Carol and Savannah were found in the trunk.
Yes.
And then Julie,
Okay,
who was Carol's daughter, was found in a clearing with her throat slit.
And then Professor Armstrong.
Yeah, Professor Armstrong was
and
found
and was
decapitated.
that a man or a woman?
A woman. All the murder victims are women.
Okay, this is really awkward because you said a college professor and gave the name and my brain was like, oh, that's a dude. So there's my misogyny showing. That's cool.
I'm disappointed
And then-
in you.
Whoopsie.
Someone did a poopsie. That's
I most certainly did not.
just what my brain goes to every time someone says whoopsie. And I don't know why. Back to the woman who was decapitated. So, it was also found that Joey Armstrong happened to have just recently moved into a cabin at the Cedar Lodge. So that's all 4 of our victims with a connection to the Cedar Lodge, right?
Mhm.
So police continued investigating and they were asking people for like witness statements and everything like that about anything that they had seen recently. A few witnesses came forward and reported seeing a blue 1979 International Scout, which is a car. I didn't bother looking it up because frankly I just didn't fucking care what kind of car it was. Like,
It went brum. That's all that matters.
literally though. It did the brum brum. Basically. Parked outside of Joey's cabin. This car was traced back to being owned by Carrie Stainer. So the FBI went and picked him up and they were like, you are now suspect uno. What? Uno means one.
Yes. Numero uno.
There we go. Suspect numero uno. Uno? What? Whatever. He became the prime suspect, okay? And he was brought in for questioning by the FBI. And then Stainer was just like, you know what? Shit. I fucking murdered Joey. I cut off her head. And they were like, oh, okay. And then so they searched his car and they found evidence of the rope and knife that he had used in connection with Armstrong and in connection with the previous 3 women.
Mhm.
Also, just to let you know, the reason I'm pretty sure that he cut off her head is because he kidnapped her, right? And then when they were driving, he got mad that she tried to escape and then was like, fuck you, how dare you try and escape from me? And got really angry.
Fucking rude. How dare she?
Yeah, and then murdered her and cut off her head.
It wasn't like a Dharma situation where it was like, cut it off and then fuck it.
No, he didn't fuck her neck hole.
Okay.
Which just really, like,
I mean, any hole's a goal, okay? Look.
maybe not a dead one. Any consensual hole is a hole.
Yes.
Let's just change the saying to that. So yeah, when he was in custody, he was like, yeah, bet I killed Joey. I cut off that bitch's head because she tried to get away from me. Fuck that hoe. And then he was also like, you know those like dead bodies you guys found a couple months back? That was totally me. I did it.
It was me.
No, literally though. And then he was like, yeah, I like fully paid some random kid to drop off that note to you. With the map of her body. So he paid some random kid to drop off that note to the FBI, and he specifically used the word "we" to try and trick the FBI into thinking that it was like a team of killers rather than just himself. And then also he threw Carol's wallet, who was the first woman to be murdered, just at a random intersection in Modesto. So he did a couple of things to try and throw them off, and also he was just like chill as fucking interviews, so they just really did not think it coming.
Okay.
So, this is all that he confessed to. So, this is how it went down with the first three women. So, apparently, they were in this cabin, right? And then the other two cabins either side of them were empty. And he apparently, like, pulled up and, like, saw them watching TV and whatever, and he was like, you know what? Murder. So he went and rang the doorbell, and he was like,
That's fair. I often see people and I'm like,
murder.
I'm gonna kill you. Let's go.
So he walks up, and he's like, knocks on the door, and he's like, hi, I'm with the Sea
Can I murder you, please?
Yeah, no, he wasn't quite like that, Jeramie, gosh.
Oh, okay. Well,
He was like,
you know what?
no.
At least be upfront about it.
I mean, he wasn't like 2 seconds.
I will
he
let
had
you-
to get inside first, Jeramie. He had to get inside the room.
Okay, so, hi, here's my knife.
No, that's not how
It's
he did
now
it.
inside you.
Oh. No, that's not how it happened. So, he knocks on the door, and he's like, hi, I'm Carrie. I work for the Cedar Lodge Motel. This is my cute little uniform. I actually have no idea if he was in his fucking uniform. I'm just assuming it helped. And he was like, I just need to check if there's, like, a water leak in your bathroom, because, like, seems leaky. I don't know. And Carol was like, bit weird, but, alright, bet, it's your hotel. You're a hotel worker. I guess you're not here to murder us. Spoiler
Not the
alert,
only leak there
he
is in
was.
this room.
Yeah, she's about to be leaking blood. Because he walks into the room, and then he whips out a gun, and he's like, hoi hoi! I'm actually here to murder you.
Pew pew!
So he got everyone quiet, and he was like, fuck yeah, bitches, shut the fuck up! And it's unclear on whether he got the younger two girls to go into the bedroom before or after he strangled Carol with a rope that was in his toolbox.
Okay.
So he pulls out a rope from his toolbox, strangles Carol to death. Then, with the two younger girls, so the two 15-year-olds, takes them into the bedroom, and he's like, hey, gun on you. Do sexy things. He legit tried to make them perform sexual
Do
acts.
sexy
on each other. Yeah, that's what he
things.
was like. He's like, do the sexy things. So he tried to force them to perform.
Is that a direct quote? Because I don't know what I would do if someone held a gun to me and was like, hey, do the sexy thing. I would probably just be like, is this sexy?
What dancing
Also,
is
hello,
that?
tie-dye. Here's a good greeting for you. Is this sexy?
Oh my god. Yeah, that's a direct quote. He was like, do the sexy thing. I don't know how well it worked because obviously just eat cherries. How the fuck is eating cherries sexy? They have cyanide in them, Reese.
Yeah, if just eat them the way Sunshine does, seed and all. And then text all your friends, am I gonna die?
Okay. This concoction of mine is actually starting to taste really fucking good. But yeah, so he was in the bedroom and he was like, fucking do the sexy things. I don't know if they actually did it because Carrie never was like, yeah, they did it. And also they're both dead, so it's not like they could say whether or not they did it. So, but then something didn't happen and he was like, fuck you, Sylvina, you can die. So he shot her and killed her. And then he was like, hey, Julie, just, like, hang tight while I put your mom and your friend into the trunk of your rental car. And then he took Julie with him on, like, a little joyride.
Woo!
To, like, a
I'm sure it
clearing.
was so joyful.
I mean, it was joyful for him,
Yeah.
just not Julie.
No.
So He decides to take her to the woods, and then he raped her, and then slit her throat. Yeah.
Don't love that.
No. And then, he, drove the car down the road, set it on fire, and then just fucked off back to his house.
I do
And
like
drew his
fire.
map. So he was crafty.
It's cute that he was like, hey, I'm going to send you all on a little treasure hunt. But you know what? I feel like if I were to murder people and I wanted to make it an adventure for the investigators, I feel like I'd do more like of a scavenger hunt.
I mean,
I wouldn't draw them a map. It would be more of a, okay, so you have 10 clues. That this clue will lead you to the next clue, and that'll lead you to the next clue, and then eventually the 10th clue will tell you where the bodies are. I think that's a fun way to do it because it can, show them the city. You know?
No, because the cops investigating would be from that city, so they would already know the city.
It can send them to places they haven't been before, I don't know.
Here's where I raped my victim.
No, I would be like, hey.
Before slitting her throat.
No, it would be like, hey, what is the city's most profitable gay bar? And then they have to solve the puzzle and go there. And then they'll go there and get the answer from get the next riddle from the bartender. And it would be like, go to the cemetery where XYZ is born, and then I'd have to Google that person and find out where that person's born and go to that cemetery. So I'd make it like a learning experience.
Okay, if you ever send me on a fucking scavenger hunt, I'm calling the police first.
That is fair. So, might need to scrap your birthday plans.
Jesus Christ. So anyway,
I thought you'd want to find a pinata full of bodies.
No. I would totally be down for, touching a dead body, but, a cadaver, one that was, agreed to be, touched by people.
A consenting cadaver.
Yeah, exactly.
You've also said, I removed it when you said it, but you've also said that you want to touch ashes.
Okay. I do. It's so bad, but I do. I just don't know what they feel like. Okay, I can't help it. I like to know what things feel like, and sometimes my brain, cannot, compute with that.
I have an ashtray on my balcony. Just stick your hand in that.
No, but that's cigarette ash. That's not, human ash. Apparently human ash
that
is,
contains
chunky.
Cyanide.
Exactly. I don't want cyanide, Jeramie. God, I want bones and teeth.
Okay, so these people died.
Yeah. Also, he's not little, he's 38. Stainer also confessed that he had been dreaming of murdering women since he was 7 years old.
Wait.
Which was 4 years before his brother was abducted.
I was gonna say, I'm hang on. I just remembered this is connected to last week's case, and Stainer was the last name of the boy that was kidnapped.
Yeah. So Carrie Stainer is Stephen Stainer's older brother.
This family couldn't catch a break.
They really fucking couldn't. One website that I went to, it's literally, what is the title for it? Because it was, I was like, fuck me dead, mate.
I don't want to do it while you're alive. Why would I do it when you're dead?
That's fair. But you wouldn't be fucking me when I was dead. You would be fucking me until I was dead. It would be that good of sex I would die.
You're not wrong.
That's okay.
That's why I don't do it, because that's what happens every time.
People die. So the serialkillercalendar.com, which I low-key love this website, I'm not gonna lie. It's the article about this is the Stainer family tragedies, because it's literally that Stephen Stainer gets abducted when he's 7 years old. He's raped for 7 years and just had that fucking bullshit, and then he dies in a motorbike accident. Then, let me scroll to it because I wasn't originally gonna include this. Then fucking the people that did that shit to him got like fuck all time.
Mm-hmm.
Then his, okay, where is it? Uncle Jerry was mysteriously killed in his own home in 1990. His murder was never solved. That was the one who lived with Carrie Stainer, which is Stainer's older brother, which is who we're talking about now. And then Vietnam, so he had come home from work that day for lunch, and he was ambushed and killed with his own gun. So, like, that's fucked, right? Then, where is it? Where the fuck is it? I, like, literally... Oh, my God, move on from that. I felt like there was another family member that's something happened to him. But then, you know, like, Carrie Stainer goes on to murder people, so, like...
It's not great.
He's obviously not a great human either. But also, just to, like, make this even more fucked, apparently Carrie Stainer was raped by Uncle Jerry in the years that he was living with him.
Can we just, like, set this whole family on fire? Just, like, be done with them?
I mean, like, maybe, but also, like, this is so inappropriate.
Not Stephen, because, like, Stephen did not deserve
Stephen didn't fucking do anything.
what happened to him. But Carrie and Jerry, at least...
They need to fucking go.
Carrie's
dead.
They should be the ones lit on fire in the trunk.
Literally. So, Carrie pled guilty to the premeditated murder of Joey Armstrong in the hopes that he wouldn't receive the death penalty. And he was sentenced to life in prison for that. But, shockingly, during the Armstrong trial, he is quoted as saying...
Let me guess, he didn't serve that full sentence.
Just wait, Jeramie. Just wait.
Okay.
So he broke down in court and he was like, I wish I could take it back, but I can't. I wish I could tell you why I did such a thing, but I don't even know myself. I'm so sorry. I wish there was a reason, but there isn't. It's senseless.
Okay.
So anyway, yeah. He, like, pulled his eyes out and said that.
So he did the thing. He got in trouble for the thing, and then his response was, oh, I'm going to be all Emily about it, and...
Yeah. But you know what the saddest part is that Joey's mum actually believes that his apology was genuine.
But,
like, this bitch cut off her daughter's head. Like, he cut off her daughter's head, and she was like, he didn't mean to do it. And I'm like, bestie, he cut off your daughter's head. You don't just accidentally cut off someone's head.
How do you not mean to remove... How do you accidentally remove someone's head? This isn't...
So that trial was done first, right? He was found guilty, got the life sentence, blah, 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 blah. Then he went on trial for the murders of Carol, Julie, and Selena, which he pled not guilty to by reason of insanity. However, the jury was like, I don't know, bro. No, Reese, I've never actually knocked someone's head off before. Fuck me. No, I have never done that. So, he's pled not guilty by reason of insanity. Sorry, I just had a little bit of a testy there.
Do you want both?
And his lawyers claimed that the Stainer family had a history of mental illness and sexual abuse, which, like, I mean, they're not really that wrong.
It sounds like they're kind of just a stain on human society.
Literally, though, except for poor Stephen.
Yeah, no.
But, like, it gets worse, bro. It gets worse.
It always does with you. Oh.
I know. That's what makes it good. So, Carrie Stainer was officially diagnosed by some doctor. I didn't write her name down because apparently I didn't care.
She's a woman, so it doesn't matter. It's fine. It's not important.
I hate you so much when you say shit like that to me, Jeramie. Like, it makes me want to stab you in the throat.
Well,
And now I'm going to find her name.
Yeah,
Oh my
because
God, it's actually a dude.
you're the one.
Okay, that's why it didn't matter. It was a dude.
There we go. Then I don't care what his name was.
Okay, there we go. So some dude diagnosed him with, well, he testified on trial that Carrie Stainer had OCD, mild autism, and paraphilia, which, in case you didn't know, is the intense sexual arousal to atypical objects, situations, fantasies, behaviors, or individuals.
I do know what a paraphilia is because it's different to a kink.
Actually that makes sense though.
Yeah. So, for example, if someone is a pedophilia
That's the
is
first file that popped in my head.
pedophilia is a paraphilia. So, paraphilia is basically the parent term for all of those less than normal.
Well, I mean, it could make sense because
So,
technically Carrie was a pedophile because he raped Julie before he killed her, and Julie was only 15.
But basically, any object or thing or concept, there is a philia to go with it. So, a dendrophile, someone with dendrophilia, is sexually obsessed or attracted to trees. It's a thing. It's a thing.
But why is it called bestiality then?
Bestiality would be the colloquial term. There would actually be a philia associated with it. I don't know what that would be. I suppose.
But also you have like necrophilia, which is like
Yep.
trying to fuck dead people.
Exactly. So all of those philias. I'm sorry, Reese, I didn't mean to out you and your desire to fuck a tree.
Okay, look, I feel like it's not technically hurting anyone, so like you do you. Maybe it would hurt you though, because like I feel like trees aren't the softest to fuck. Do you like wrap a leaf around your hand and then like just jerk yourself off?
With some sap as lube, or way to take tree hugger to the next level.
Or do you just like find a tree with a hole in it and go
Please.
Anyway, so the jury was like, nah, bro, you tripping. You're fucking sane. You're not insane. Like, fuck you. You don't have insanity. So, ironically enough, he was convicted of 3 counts of first-degree murder with special circumstances and one count of kidnapping on the 27th of August 2002. And, LOL, he was sentenced to death. Which is why he pleaded guilty to the Armstrong case, because he didn't want to be sentenced to death. But then he got sentenced to death anyway, because he's a piece of shit.
How'd they kill him?
Annoying fact, they haven't.
I know.
Stainer remains on death row as of April 2022. So this is technically because in 2006 there was a court ruling over the flaws discovered in the administration of capital punishment in the state of California.
Can we go kill him?
Which is kind of down my own. No, because then we would go to jail.
No, we're just like doling out his punishment. He was sentenced to it.
Yeah, but there's like a specific way they have to be sentenced to it. But anyway, so this connects back to like Carrie, or Stainer, actually I'm going to call him Stainer. Stainer has been like, there's stuff about him saying that he, like, once Stephen came back, Stephen apparently didn't recognize his siblings at first, he only recognized his parents, and then like they gave so much coverage to obviously Stephen being found and everything like that, and everyone appeared to be relieved except for Carrie, who became increasingly jealous of the attention given to his brother. Carrie is even quoted as saying that
Carrie was the elder child, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's the eldest.
Okay, so there's literally in my notes a line that says, "Tell me you're the eldest child without telling me." And same here. There we go. Our cases connect. Once again, we've found a way where our cases accidentally connect. Which Tie-Dye was hoping that we could start finding ways where we even had a sentence that linked them. And we
That would be
actually fucking did this time, because straight
cool.
up.
Unintentionally as well.
Tell me you are the eldest child without telling me.
Like, Carrie even says that apparently his mum forgot to put a plate on the dinner table for him and only realised once everyone else had been seated. Which I, like, low-key just think is really funny, and I'm like, well, bestie. But, like, it really seems like, basically, like, Stephen came back from being kidnapped and tortured and everything like that, and Carrie was like, why does Stephen get all the attention?
How dare he get attention after that ordeal? I just went to say attention and ordeal at the same time. It was going to be ortention.
Yeah, so basically he was, like, super jealous of Stephen. But apparently he was, like, fucked up the whole time. But you know what even makes it more fucking irritating? So, like, Carrie had some, like, signs, I guess, of, like, some shit that was wrong with him, right, when he was younger. So, like, when Carrie was 16, one of his sister's friends stayed over at the house, and Carrie hid under the bed intending to fondle her breasts during the night. Once the girl realised, she asked him to leave, but minutes later, Carrie walks back in the room naked.
I don't know what kind of sleepovers y'all attended, but I can say that is not, appropriate. Hey, Lizard! That is not appropriate behaviour for the sleepovers that I attended.
No, but, like, it even gets worse as well, because it's like there's also a comment from a former co-worker of Carrie's who claims to have seen him punch a table so hard that his hand began to bleed. And then he was quoted as saying that he would be able to kill his boss with his bare hands and then burn down the building. But everyone was like, it's fine.
I mean, arson's no big deal. Just write a porno about it.
But, also, he fucking basically blames it on, lol, Liz, you're so cute. He basically blamed it on his mental illnesses and his family. Because he's like, I have a doctor-diagnosed mental disorder, and my family turned a blind eye, and they never fucking helped me come over my problems. So, right, so he is, like, blaming shit on his mental illnesses, which is so fucking dumb, mate. Like, your mental illness is your own responsibility. Like, yes, it can do shit to fuck you up.
It's not your fault,
it's yours.
But it's your responsibility.
Yes, that's the quote. Fucking Amanda always says it on Wine and Crime, and I love that quote so much. Your mental illness isn't your fault, but it is your responsibility. I'm like, but yeah. But, you know what's even more fucked up? Okay, so you know how I said that in the previous case, Stephen Stayner's dad said that Stephen didn't need counselling, right?
Oh, yeah, he wouldn't hug him, he didn't need counselling, it was fine because boys don't cry. Mm-hmm. It's not important.
Apparently, this fucker came out and said that he tried to get Carrie's oh my god, why? Why can I say that word?
Girl!
Psychiatric. Thank you. He tried to get psychiatric. I can't say the word. Wait, how do I say it again?
Psychiatric.
Okay, there we go.
This is the stuff that we normally remove, by the way, guys.
Kirstyn not being able to say a word and making Jeramie tell me how to say it.
Please tell us if you would pay to see these videos weekly, unedited, because there's a lot of shit that we remove that is...
I don't think anyone would pay for that.
But if they're going to, I'll let them, like...
So yeah, his fucking dad turned around and was like, oh yeah, I tried to get Carrie psychiatric help back in the day, but, like, he wouldn't go to the group sessions, so, like, it didn't pan out or whatever. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
I'm sorry,
you clearly thought that one of your sons was a fucking psychopath, so you were like, yeah, I'm gonna get him psychiatric help. But when your son comes back from being raped for 7 years, you're
and
like,
kidnapped.
Nah, he's fine. He's fine. Like, what the fuck? This family, y'all. This family.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, to close out my case, little Carrie, he's not a little, he's a right fucking piece of trash, and I hope he dies soon. He's actually mentioned in the media quite a few times, and I don't really care about any of them, but I don't know if you know this, but I fucking love Criminal Minds. Such a good show. Like, oh my god, love it so much. And when I was reading this case, I was like, why does this seem kind of familiar? It's because Criminal Minds mentions the Yosemite
Yes.
killer in season 5, episode 19, A Rite of Passage.
Okay.
Like, not that this piece of shit, like, deserves any, like, what's it called? Attention at all.
No.
But, like, I just thought that was really interesting. And also, like, I know this is kind of bad, but, like, his, like, mugshot from, like, I don't know when, he's, like, he's a little bit attractive, so I can also see why Carol let him in the place.
Oh.
Like, he's
okay.
kind of... Okay,
Yeah.
like, he's okay looking. Where's the new picture of him? The new picture of him, he's so ugly.
Are we still underwater on your screen?
No.
Yes. Hello.
We look so cute. I didn't want to leave.
That's fair. Under the sea.
Under the sea. Under the sea.
All right.
But
well,
yeah, that's my case, bro.
Much like last week's half of this two-parter, I did not love it.
That's not surprising. You never love my cases.
Yeah, because no, I loved Amy Bach. That was Amy Bach was an interesting case. I loved that.
Amy? Oh, my
Leonard.
lady girl.
Percival. I don't know.
Yeah, Percival. Percival is her
Percival
name.
Leonard
Percival.
Carroll Redwood.
No, wait, was it that?
Yes, it was.
How do you remember that? I don't remember.
Because
it was my fucking case.
I just had to sift through the video 2 days ago to prepare an Instagram video. And I edit this shit, and also my memory is, like, insane. Alright, well...
Mine is like a goldfish. That's really not surprising. I never remember anything.
So, can I tell you my story now?
Yeah, tell me your story. Mystify me.
Alright, so I've gone for something a little bit different this week. Not quite as big of a wild card as Stonehenge was.
That was so fucking...
But it is
It was
definitely another unsolved history.
Alright, I'm down. I love history. Let's go.
So, you know how good I am at talking about history because I'm so knowledgeable. I know so much. I'm so good at it. Anyway.
Yeah.
As I mentioned in last week's episode that we recorded like 2 hours ago. That one. I was considering doing one of the more spoopy mysteries on my list. And
sorry,
finding...
did you just say spoopy?
Yes, I always say spoopy. Have you never
Why?
noticed this?
No, I don't think I have.
Yeah, it's spoopy. So I was considering doing one of the more spoopy mysteries on my list and finding like a haunting or something, and I ended up going with this one, which kind of fits. It's very loose in that it is the tale of a ghost ship, and to be fair, when I initially started looking into it, I found that my understanding of the case was way off base, and it was nowhere near as ghostly and spoopy as I believed it to be, but apparently that's actually a pretty common thing with this particular case, which I will explain a bit later on. I also think that I may have had it somewhat confused with a different ghost ship. I think I kind of mixed the stories together in my head, because I came across the story of a different ghost ship in my research, and I was like, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. So I've added that to my, ever-growing list. So you'll hear about that at another point. But first, some fun facts. It's okay, this time there is no musical guessing game. So it is still a wild card though, so maybe make sure your seatbelt is buckled. So, given that this week I'm talking about a ship, I didn't really know what to look for fun facts wise, as you know, the ocean's kind of it's a big place, you know, like 70% of the world, give or take.
Ooh.
But instead of fun facts about a location linked to the case, I've kind of gone for something a little bit different. Fun, completely unrelated facts about a person ever so loosely connected to the case. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle.
Why? Wait. The guy who wrote Sherlock?
Obviously a name most people know and associate with his greatest fictional creation, Sherlock Holmes.
Sherlock! Oh my god.
So, did you know Doyle actually grew weary of Holmes and reportedly wrote to his mother, "I think of slaying Holmes and winding him up for good and all," which she persuaded him against doing for quite some time.
Thanks,
Before
bestie,
he
appreciate
finally...
you.
Pardon?
I said, thanks, bestie, appreciate you.
I mean, yeah, I guess. Never read any of them. I know and appreciate Sherlock Holmes, but I don't read. So, I don't have the patience. Also, do spoilers still count if it's from, like, over 200 years ago?
No, spoilers don't count if it was, like, 5 years ago.
Okay, cool. So, she persuaded him against doing so for quite some time, but then he actually did do it in 1893, killing Sherlock Holmes off in the same year that his father died. You might be asking why he decided to do this, and I have an answer for you. It was...
Fucking hated Sherlock.
Well, I mean, he wasn't really that keen on Sherlock, to be honest, but his real reason for killing him off was so that he could put all of his time and energy into the pursuit of focusing his writing on his passion. Spiritualism. I'm just going to jump in here now and clarify, while the two can kind of be linked to some degree, spiritualism and spirituality are two different things. So,
Okay.
spirituality is more of a state of mind and kind of like the values or meaning by which someone lives or your belief system. Not necessarily linked to religion, but often is. So it could be religion, it could be personal growth and development, it could be, you know, I always say that I'm a spiritual person in that I believe in myself and my journey and the things that I believe in. Whereas spiritualism is the concept or belief in spirits and communicating with the dead. So more mediums, seances, etc. And at this time...
Ouija boards.
Yes. And at this time... I still really want to do a Ouija board, though.
Fucking same. I'll do one with you. Do you own one?
Cool. No, but we can either get one or make one.
I'm down to buy one.
We'll figure it out. We'll burn that bridge when we get to it.
We can make one. We can make it glittery.
Yes. I mean, I was just going to make one with a piece of paper and a pen, but that works too.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Same.
At this time, spiritualism was very much a New Age religious movement. Like, it's kind of a little known fact, but Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and Houdini had a little frenemy ship.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that they were lovers, and I was so excited.
No.
I was like, yes!
They were friends, and then they were
story.
enemies, and then they were frenemies.
And they also had sex from time to time.
What is it with you and writing all of this gay erotic fiction about historical figures?
I just want more gay love stories out there.
I mean, fair, but You would assume if anyone out of the two of us was going to be writing gay erotic fiction, it would be me. But apparently it's you. That's fine.
I love gays.
Whatever. I am not going to judge you for your paraphilia.
I'm not a paraphilia. Paraphilia?
Paraphiliac. Paraphile?
Paraphiliac.
I suppose to some degree you are a paraphile because we will everyone has a paraphilia.
Oh right, yeah, because I like people.
Yeah, everyone has some form of interest that is aphilia, which falls under paraphilia. I don't know anything about psychology. I'm speaking out of my butthole, which is attached to my mouth hole. Which technically that is the truth. Technically your butthole is attached to your mouth hole. That's how your digestive system works. Anyway.
I'm sure that's what everyone wants to be thinking about.
So, Doyle, as I call him, because, we're besties. We go way back.
For sure.
So, old mate Doyle was, way into spiritualism, and he murdered Sherlock Holmes so that he could focus on it. But then I guess he also kind of was into necromancy, because 10 years later he brought him back. Why? Because he needed the money, because apparently spiritualism doesn't sell as well as Sherlock Holmes did. Anyway, you're probably wondering what exactly Homie Doyle has to do with a ghost ship, other than his passion for spiritualism, and perhaps you'll make that connection a bit more once I tell you the name of the ship I'll be talking about today. The Mary Celeste. Not ringing any bells? No? Okay, that's fine.
It's triggering something, but you know me, memory of a goldfish.
What's the capital of Adelaide?
There is no Adelaide.
What is
Adelaide is the capital of South Australia, I'll have you know.
What else is Adelaide the capital of?
Adelaide's the capital of South Australia, that's it, isn't it?
It's the world capital of murder.
Capital of the world.
Murder capital of the world. So, while this is a true story about a real ship that existed, the case itself didn't really gain much attention in comparison to Doyle's short story, J. Habakkuk Jeffson's Statement, which was published 2 years after the events, and it contained events that were based on the story of the Mary Celeste. So, a brigantine ship built in Nova Scotia, Canada, and launched as Amazon in 1961 under British registration, was then transferred to American registration in 1968, where the vessel received the new moniker, Mary Celeste. You know what moniker means, right? There's your vocab lesson for the week. Okay, cool.
Vocab lesson!
Woo! Sailing uneventfully with no stories of note until one fateful voyage in 1872, captained by one Benjamin Spooner Briggs, which, can I note, what a great name for a ship captain, because, a brig is, I'm pretty sure, a part of a ship, but it's also a type of ship. Am I not wrong? I am not wrong, because I googled what a brig was, and it said that it was a type of ship separate to a brigantine. That don't confuse the two, apparently. So I was like, okay, cool. What a great name for a ship captain. It also makes you wonder, in his relationship, do you reckon he was given his middle name, do you reckon he was the Spooner or the Spoonee?
He was totally a bottom.
Well, his name was Benjamin Spooner Briggs, so one would assume that he was the Spooner. So I guess it's more likely that he would have been the Briggs spoon, not the little spoon.
Oh my god. For fuck's sake. I can't with you. Ooh, fuck.
But anyway, where was I? I got lost. Oh, yes.
Brig was the spooner. He was the Brig spoon.
That's not going to help me with my notes. That wasn't in my notes, okay?
Shit, mate. You asked me what the last thing you said was, and I told you. I don't know what you've written down.
Yep. Okay, so Captain Briggs, his wife, and his daughter. It's also worth noting that he had a son, but they left him behind so he could attend school.
What?
So,
okay.
It
They
sucks.
care about his education, that's all.
It sucks to be him, but also tell me you're the eldest child without telling me. Because, clearly...
Oldest male child, frustrated that he's not the center of attention.
Hi,
Who
it
am
me! But also, clearly, this kid was not important. They just fucking left him to continue to go on their voyage.
They
Anyway,
were like, okay, catch ya, bye!
so it was daddy, mummy, and daughter, and a crew of 7, handpicked by Briggs himself, along with a cargo of 1,701 barrels of denatured alcohol. Now, every article that I read made a point of specifying that denatured alcohol is undrinkable. But honestly, I reckon in a pinch it'll do, and they just didn't try hard enough.
I was actually having
They
this
didn't
conversation today.
want it bad enough. Like, you know what? I feel like they just were like, oh, it's for fuel and stuff. It's for hand sanitizer. We shouldn't drink it.
Hand sanitizer.
Alcohol is alcohol.
I had a conversation with someone today, and I was like, you know what? I'll pretty much drink anything you put in front of me. Which is really bad.
You're not wrong.
I am out of alcohol. So...
I'm just going to jump back into my fun little story. So,
Yes.
I last talked about...
They're leaving their child behind.
I'm confused. Oh, yes, I talked about the denatured alcohol that was on board. So...
Yeah, because I had run out of alcohol. And that's
Captain Briggs, his daughter, his wife, and 7 crewmen who he picked himself headed along with a cargo of 1,701 barrels of denatured alcohol, which is undrinkable, apparently. Set off from New York Harbor on November 7th of 1982, headed for Genoa, Italy. Not Genovia, where...
I was literally just about to make it a Genovia joke.
So, about a month later, on the 4th of December, the crew of De Gratia, another brigantine captained by one David Morehouse, that had left New York Harbor on the 15th of December, 8 days after Mary Celeste, for Gibraltar, noticed a ship in the distance. This ship was about 10 kilometers, which is 6 miles, in the distance, and it was heading towards them unsteadily. Morehouse observed the erratic movements and the odd state the sails were set in, and was concerned, but was even more so when upon closer inspection he noticed the name of the vessel, Mary Celeste. Reportedly, he was aware of the voyage... Sorry, I just noticed a typo as I read it, and I'm like, I'm so confused. He was aware of the voyage. Reportedly, he was aware of the voyage the vessel had set out on, and noted that they should have arrived at their destination by now. The crew of De Gratia boarded the vessel to find her completely abandoned, not a soul in sight.
Bum, bum, bum.
So, the ship's sole lifeboat, along with the 10 people aboard, was missing. However, the crewmen's belongings remained. The 6-month supply of food and water remained untouched, as did the cargo of alcohol. However, it is worth noting that 9 of the 1,007...
say it, so I already started reaching for my drink.
It was in my notes, so it's fair. I also should probably drink. I need to stick to my own rules. Yes, so 9 of the 1,701 barrels were empty, though this was more likely from leaking than from theft, as the barrels were reportedly made of red oak, which apparently is more porous than white oak, which is what the other barrels consisted of. I don't know.
Okay.
If you say so. One of the 2 pumps had been disassembled, and there was 3.5 feet or 1 meter worth of water in the hold, which is an insignificant amount for a ship of this size. The last entry in the captain's log was from November 25th, which was 10 days prior. It appeared that the ship had been completely abandoned, but there was no clear evidence as to why. The ship was perfectly healthy and in saleable condition. So, this is where there's a lot of confusion or misremembering of the story, myself included, because there's so many myths or false retellings of the story. For example, the LA Times featured an article in 1883 depicting the ship as having every sail perfectly set, not a rope out of sight, the fire still burning, and dinner laid out untouched and barely cold, as though everyone simply vanished in the blink of an eye, which, to be honest, is partially how I remembered the story going, but that's not the case at all. That's why when I was like looking into it, I'm like, wait, this isn't what I remember.
Wait
so it's not,
a minute.
So it's not quite as spoopy as I initially thought that it was, but it's still an interesting mystery. In 1913, a British magazine, The Strand, shared the Abel Fosdick papers, which was allegedly the diary of someone aboard the Mary Celeste, but that was debunked and proven to be a literary hoax. So the version claimed that while at sea, they had built a special viewing deck aboard the ship, and that the captain and a crew member had a swimming competition to settle a debate as to who could swim faster with their clothes on. So they swapped clothes, and then they jumped off the ship and they had a swimming competition. They swam around the ship. And this was all well and good before one of them started screaming out because he was being eaten by a shark. Anyway, the rest of the crew then ran onto that special deck that was constructed to see what the screams were about before it collapsed. And they all fell to the mercy of the ocean. As I said, this was debunked pretty quickly as, firstly, there was no evidence of...
No evidence of a special
Okay, yeah.
platform.
I was just really confused because I'm like, hang on, if I missed a part, but no, that follows after. So there was no evidence of this special platform being made. Secondly, they listed names in their diary entries, and not one of them matched the names of the people on board. They got them wrong. For example, they mentioned Captain Griggs. And thirdly...
Like, if you're gonna lie, do it well.
Thirdly, within a crew of 7, they got the nationality wrong. They claimed They claimed that they were on a boat of Americans when the records for the ship show that they were mostly either English or German. And if you're interacting with 7 people on a daily basis, sorry, there were 10 people on board, so he would have been interacting with 6 other crew members if he was actually on board. I'm pretty sure you would have been able to figure out their nationality. Oh, and the name of the person whose diary it was didn't match with anyone who was on the records of having been on that boat. So none of it tracks.
Rip. I was gonna say, I've had people ask me if I'm different nationalities before. Like, my vet once, she asked if I was Canadian, and I was like, no. And she's like, American? I only asked Canadian because I didn't want to offend you. And I was like, no, I'm Australian.
I mean,
Canadian
like, is
really?
less offensive than American, though.
Yes. No, I mean, I agreed. I was like, for sure that's less offensive, but no, dude, I'm Australian. And then I've also had a customer ask me once. He's like, oh my god, I love your accent. And I was like, thanks. And he's like, where are you from? And I was like, Australia. And he's like, what? And I was like, yeah, I'm from Australia. I was born in South Wales. What? He just didn't really seem to believe me, and I was just like, what? Why would I lie about that?
So, there was a third false story that was run in 1924 by the Daily Express, which claimed to have an informant who was a member of the crew. Again, their name not matching anyone that appeared on the crew list. Claiming that Briggs and his crew spotted another abandoned ship containing treasure in the form of gold and silver, that they decided to split amongst themselves and thus abandon Mary Celeste in pursuit of new lives. But that then begs the question of,
the ocean.
If this is the case, what happened to the crew of that ship? And where did that ship go? So, I'm going to say that didn't happen. Just a guess.
Literally, though.
So, Morehouse split his crew in 2 and had one group sail De Gratia and the other sail Mary Celeste to Gibraltar so that they could lay claim to a salvage payout. Upon arrival, an inquiry ensued. That wasn't words. An inquiry ensued. The judge in the salvage hearing, Frederick Sully Flood, believed the ship's abandonment had been part of a crime. He just wasn't certain on the specifics. He was suspicious of Morehouse and the crew of the De Gratia and ordered an investigation of the vessel, and they found cuts on either side of the bow that appeared to have been made with a sharp weapon like an axe and could have been a sign of foul play, but were later deemed to just be basic wear and tear.
Whoa.
They also found what they initially believed to be bloodstains on a railing and the captain's sword, but these were also found to be something else. So ultimately, no motive or evidence of a crime was found, and the ship was released and continued to sail under new ownership until 1885, when her current captain intentionally wrecked her off the coast of Haiti in an attempted insurance fraud. So, poor Mary Celeste just did not get dealt a good hand. Morehouse and his crew were granted a salvage award of £1,700, a rather low award, worth roughly 1/5 the value of the cargo itself, the equivalent of £196,677 today.
Damn.
So, this brings us to our theories. What happened aboard the Mary Celeste? Did her crew abandon her? And if so, why? Where did they go? And why were none of them ever seen or heard from again? Or did something more sinister happen to them? Thoughts?
Bum, bum, bum. It was gay lovers. They sailed away with it.
All 10 of them, including his wife and daughter, were gay lovers, and they just or did they off the wife and daughter and throw them overboard?
No. So they didn't off them. They found an island and they were like, "Look, we don't want any vaginas on this boat, so you got to go." And the wife and daughter were like, "That's like you kind of dodge." And they were like, "Well, you know what? We just like dicks. So unless you got a dick, you gotta go." And they were like, "Fuck you. We're gonna go live with the locals." And so they did. They fucked off. They lived with the locals. They had like a really cute life with the local native people, while the rest of the men went off and just basically made it like a little orgy ship.
But none of the men were on the ship anymore, so that explains the women's disappearance, but not the men's.
Okay, no. So then just gradually, because they were having so much sex, they just got really tired, and they would like fall asleep on the railings and then just fall off into the ocean.
That would explain all of the jizz stains found on the ship.
Exactly.
That makes so
I'm
much
only
sense.
giving you plausible.
They were like,
plausible.
alright, but if these people died, why is there so much jizz and no blood?
It's because they got so tired from jizzing that they just fell off board and died.
So, just like Stonehenge, I am going to just get this one over and done with first, because of course it's a theory. Aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Naturally, a lot of people believe the crew were abducted by aliens because, well, of course they do. That makes perfect sense. I mean, this belief is likely tied to the misremembered facts of the story that I mentioned earlier. The ship being found in pristine condition, food laid out, and fires burning as if the crew were there 1 second and then simply were not. Yeah, sure. I would definitely be Team Alien if it were that situation. But, like I said, it was not. So, that was not the true state of the ship, and also the lifeboat was missing. So, that points to human involvement being far more likely.
No.
Like,
But aliens, Jeramie.
aliens. Also, just like with Stonehenge, gonna get this one out of the way. Merlin is not a theory.
Dang it! I was like, yes! Let's go! Another Merthyr fanfic?
I just couldn't help myself but to jump in there because I already referenced Stonehenge once, so I'm like, let's go for 2 and see if she even questions it. Aliens you're on board with, and Merlin you apparently deem an appropriate theory in any case. Let's see if I can bring him up in another case.
Merlin was a wizard, bro. He was a wizard. Just saying.
Alright.
Just saying.
I can't believe that you just straight up bought it and were like, yep, I'm on board. And I'm like, Girl, I'm joking.
I just really love Murpha.
So there's multiple theories involving a criminal conspiracy of some sort. Though, unlike the ship, none of them really hold any water. Perhaps pirates raided the ship and offed the crew. Plausible, but the ship wasn't looted, so
It was Captain Jack Sparrow, wasn't it?
they'd be pretty shitty pirates. Was Judge Flood correct in his theory that the crew of the De Gratia were less innocent than they let on? They could have boarded the ship and slaughtered the crew, then just claimed they found the vessel abandoned in a ploy to make money. Feasible,
That's plausible.
but it is feasible, yes. But it was 4 months before they saw a measly payout, and there also was no signs of such an attack, so unlikely. Some have even gone so far as to speculate that it was an inside job and that Briggs and his family faked their own deaths to claim the salvage through a co-conspirator. This is just outright outrageous, given that, as I said, 4 months for a measly payout. And also...
But did they know it was going to be a shitty payout?
Well, also by all reports, Briggs was a highly respected seaman and man in general, which I'm just going to jump in here and say, okay, yes, I have a lot of respect for seamen, not much for men in general, but yes, supposedly he was a highly respected seaman and man in general. Also, let's not forget the fact that they left their son behind.
Look,
So,
he just wasn't important.
either they really hated that kid and just straight up did not want him in their lives anymore, or this didn't happen. Something tells me this highly respected man wasn't about that life.
No?
No. So I'm going to say no, that didn't happen. There was also the theory that the crew got into the alcohol, you know, that stuff that was undrinkable.
Undrinkable?
Apparently they drank it. And that led to a crazed mutiny! Slaughtering
When the
Briggs.
crew gets restless, there'll be mutiny. We want Italian.
And they slaughtered Briggs and his family. And then
Bye.
ventured off in the lifeboat. Again, no sign of any such attack. And also,
What if they killed them while they were sleeping?
why would they take the lifeboat and not just stay on the ship?
They wouldn't
The-
get in trouble?
the-
I don't know, Jeramie. Shit. She
So-
should give you options.
What? A lifeboat is less likely to gain success. If you're gonna have mutiny, you're gonna keep the fucking ship. The ship is
Every
gonna
time
lead
say
you
mutiny,
places.
all my fucking brain thinks about is that fucking Fish Fingers ad. When the crew gets restless, they'll be mutiny. We want Italian.
Good old bird's
I
eye.
can't unthink about it.
That's advertising done right then.
No, literally though. I'm like,
Uh,
stop.
but-
Get in my head.
If they were to take over and overthrow the captain, they would not then leave the ship that they just overtook on the lifeboat.
That's
They
kinda
would keep
dumb.
it. Yeah. So none of those theories add up. At all. They don't hold water. Again, unlike the ship.
Ships shouldn't hold water. They should be on the water.
This ship was holding water. It was holding like 3.5 feet or 1 meter worth of water. Weeder.
Jeramie, have you taken any of the weeder?
Hold on, let me take some water in between the
Take
wine.
some weeder. Oh, it's weeder now. Didn't you hear?
Sorry, I taked some weeder.
There you go.
Alright. One of the most convincing theories that I have heard is related to the alcohol cargo, which, I mean, I'm always convinced when there's alcohol involved. It is theorized that the vapors or fumes from the alcohol may have expanded in the heat of the area they were traveling through and blown off the main hatch, leading the crew to fear an imminent explosion and flee. However, this also does not exactly make sense.
Because there was no evidence of damage.
Seeing as when the crew of the De Gratia boarded the vessel, the hatch was secured and still in place. So, also doesn't track. This leads me to the final theory. One that obviously is not universally accepted as having solved the case, given that it is an unsolved mystery, but at the very least does line up with a lot of the evidence and seems the most probable. So in 2000... Pardon?
Hit me with it.
Hit me with your best shot.
So in 2002...
Ooh, why don't you hit me with your best shot? Sorry, I had to...
So in 2002, documentarian Anne McGregor investigated the mystery, and after reconstructing the course the ghost ship would have drifted, was able to deduce that the crew was significantly off course, and that the pumps, or at least one of them, was likely clogged with coal dust and debris of a previous refitting, which would mean the pumps would be unable to remove water collecting in the hold. With this information, she proposed the theory that, fearing they would not make it to their destination and that the water building in the hold would rise very quickly, taking them under, the captain made the call to save themselves and abandon ship at the first sight of nearby land. So, this aligns with the information that we had. The hold was retaining water, there was a disassembled pump, and the lifeboat was missing. So, I do actually buy this theory as being quite likely. However, it does still leave a lot of questions. Not one of the crew took any of their belongings with them.
You don't want to weigh down a lifeboat too much.
Okay, but the supplies of food and water were left untouched. They didn't think to take any with them. Yes, there were 10 people, but you still need supplies to survive.
Maybe it was like a life of pi situation and they just ate each other.
Well, that's the other thing. Not one of these people was ever seen nor heard from ever again. Because if they were, we would have an answer as to why this ship was abandoned.
Very true, very true.
So, did they just perish at sea? Or did they just hit land and be like, alright, new game, new player, this
Maybe
my new
they
name.
Hit land, but it was like land that wasn't like really like discovered or whatever. And they
Well,
met some, like,
if
native
they
tribe
had-
or something.
If they had an abandoned ship in the location that it is theorized that they did, they would have ended up at Santa Maria, which was discovered land.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, that's my case. That's the story of the Mary Celeste. Yet another reason not to go on a ship. I'm sorry there were no ghosts on that ghost ship. I will try and find something a bit spookier next time I delve into that area, but
I have already decided next week's case for me.
I...
Can you guess what it's about?
Oh, it's an Australian female that kills.
Good job, bestie. Wait, I don't know if she actually kills anyone, but it is definitely an Australian female.
Shock horror.
What? I got feedback that we wanted more Australian cases.
Oh,
I'm just adding in women because I like women.
I'm
should
done.
probably go to bed.
I'm really done talking to you. I kind of want to just go play video games for the rest of the night. So, how can other people talk to you because I don't want to?
That's fair. Okay, so if you actually like me more than Jeramie,
You're welcome to talk to me as long as you're not Kirstyn. Just to
That's
clarify.
fair. I also wouldn't want to talk to me. I hate me.
I love you. I'm just. You
I know,
only
makes
ever
fun of
talk.
us.
You only ever talk to me about fucked up shit. So I'm done talking.
That's
Done
fair.
talking to you for today, and I'm hoping that other people want to talk to me about less fucked up shit, like maybe telling me how pretty they think I am or how great I tell stories.
I don't think
don't know.
anyone is going to message you that, but you know what?
A boy
If
can
you
dream.
if you do want to email Jeramie and let him
Send
know
me
how
a
beautiful
digital
he
letter.
is. Yeah, an electronic mail.
A digital letter.
I hate you so much. If you want to send us some electronic mail,
A
you
digital
can
letter.
send. Oh, I hate you so much. You can email it to rfimhpodcast@gmail.com.
That's our
If you wanna
digital post box.
I hate you so much. If you want to stalk us on Instagram or Twitter, it's the same handle. It is at RFIMH Podcast. And we also now have a Facebook page called Rent Free in My Head Podcast. And the URL for that is also, because Jeramie likes to keep it consistent, it's RFIMH Podcast at Facebook or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. Just type in Rent Free in My Head on Facebook and you'll get it.
Basically, we are now on every social media. We're on every podcast platform.
Listening platform.
Tell your friends.
Yeah,
tell
get
your
us more
neighbors. Tell your
listeners.
neighbors. Tell
Fucking
strangers on
shout
the
it
street.
from the
Literally-
rooftops, besties.
literally
just
just
fucking be like,
tell
"Listen
everyone
to
that you
Rent Free in
can.
My Head."
Spread the word. We want to get
Yeah,
out there.
We want to know what you guys think about us as well. Like, some of the feedback we received so far is that people would like to see more Australian cases, which is why you'll see me covering a lot of Australian cases at the moment. And then I just like women, so I keep adding women into it.
A lot of people have asked for video, which neither of us are prepared to edit, so we're prepared to release that as paid content, but we need to know if people actually want that before we will do that.
Also, let us know about merch, because I am so down to design some merch for us. I've already looked at a couple of websites where I can design merch, but like if there's like a specific quote that you really like or something like that. Personally, I really want "Don't Give Murder Tips to a 6-year-old" on a t-shirt. But we also had the suggestion of getting some car stickers, which I have actually started to look into, and I am thinking about setting up with our OG design. So let us know if you're interested in that, gang. Like, let us know.
I want it on a
Hit us up.
shirt or a hoodie. I would
man.
wear that
A
shirt and
hoodie?
hoodie all the time.
Thanks, guys, for listening to Rent Free in My Head. We hope that we have taken up some room in your heads. And we're not going to pay because we're both broke as shit. So, thanks, besties. We appreciate you.
Love squatting here. It's pretty roomy.
It's pretty
Though-
delicious.
If you could maybe like have those dark thoughts live in another room, that would be great. Thanks.
I'm chill with it though. I can live in the same room as the dark thoughts.
I have my own dark thoughts to deal with. I don't want to deal with yours. So, like, can we put them in another room, please?
No, all in the one room. Fuck Jeramie. Alright. We outie?
Much like a German car, we outie.
Oh my god, that's so brilliant. I love that. Alright. Bye!
Okay, you're done. Bye-bye.